So with the winter season, what are some of the things you're looking for?
I think it's building consistency in terms of performance. Figuring out. I mean, we have an idea of what our game plan is and what our style of play is, but I think it's just keep building on it. That we discovered towards the end of the season, we discovered how we wanted to play. We discovered certain tactical changes that worked. So now it's just reinforcing it and getting players comfortable so that a lot of the tactical decision making on the field becomes automatic. This is preparation for the fall, even though it's the winter season, even though we play games, even though we keep score and have standings. Everything we're doing now is really looking ahead to the fall. It's taking whatever we did last fall, building on it, and hopefully, we're tweaking a few things. We're trying players in different positions. We rotate the playing time a little more than we might have done in the fall. We do have a couple of players who maybe didn't play just because they were lower on the pecking order in the fall, who are starting to get a little more playing time. We have a good core of players, and it's just figuring out who works well in the system. It's different because it's indoor and we're playing on a smaller space than we normally do, but I think we're starting to see the culture change, and that's what's really important, is that we don't want people to play at a different level. We want them to come in and train with the same commitment level and seriousness that we do in the fall and carry it through so that it's a lifestyle. They're student athletes for the entire 12 months of the year. It's not an off season. It's not a recreational time. Their commitment to Stinger athletes is to play in the winter as much as it is to play in the fall. We only train twice a week versus 3 times a week in the fall. We only play 1 game a weekend. There's a couple weekends we don't play at all. So it's not as intense, but they replace that by doing more lifting and more fitness. So it's part of the commitment. They're student athletes for the entire school year, like the hockey players or the basketball players that are playing year round. So are we.
Our winter season is important aspect of the complete year, because we use it as a testing ground for some of the guys that maybe didn't play much in the fall, to see how they improve and how they're growing, and then see them in game action, to know where they're going to go for next season and see how they're going to fit into our group and continue to fit with our group. And then for our guys that have been playing on a regular basis in the fall season, continue to try and improve in areas they need to improve in. So we're trying to see the growth. One of the things that a team and university especially has to be able to do is to be able to have players grow from year to year, and hopefully in the right direction, right? So when we have players that now move on from the fall, for example, Oliver, who no longer is going to be with us because he's played his 4 years here, and he was a captain for our team. Now there's going to have to be other players that are going to have to step up and take that leadership role. And you don't have to have an armband to be a leader on our team. Right? And I always tell our guys, you guys all should be leaders to some degree. But of course, some are better at it than others. So part of the off season as well is trying to see how those guys that are kind of been around the club for a few years, how are they going to now become leaders for us? Results always matter to a certain degree for me, but in the winter, I would say it's a little less. Our results are one thing, but I think there's also something deeper down that we have to look at, and that is the attitudes and the outlook of our guys. I think it was better than it was the years past, and I think as a group, as a family, we're much more joined at the hip, if you will. And I think there's a good unity within our group, and they've been improving in certain areas, which is a good sign.